All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning back into Psych Word. You are now on the couch with Rob Gerard, and on the line we have the king of the burbs from the White Rapper Show, John Brown. John, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's good, man? It's John Brown, the king of the birds, man. You know, I'm just out here smoking on that Burberry and Burbitopia. You know, have a little barbecue. You know, doing what I do best, man. So I appreciate you having me, man.
Hold on. Did you just say a barbecue?
Yeah, man, you know, we're holding it down, man. Shout out to all my Burbs Life riders, man. Dank, Ali, Dimitri, you know, we doing this Burbs Life.
Oh, man, that is great, man. That is great. It's. Let me tell you something. Well, let me ask you, so the whole ghetto revival thing, you kind of dropped that and you went solely with the king of the burbs?
I mean, it's always what it is, man. We all out here just making music, man. Right now, you know, I just got my whole company, the Burbs Life. You know, shout out to Radio Raheem and everybody doing their thing. But yes, this is the new project is Burberry, and that's what I'm on right now.
All right, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Now, first off, before we go into what you have going on right now, you know I got to touch on the White Rapper Show.
Yeah.
All right, I got to ask you a few questions about that. Now, first off, I just want to say, man, you were robbed. All right. I mean, everyone you come across must tell you that, man, that's seen the show. I mean, I don't know many people that thought that the outcome of the show was justified.
Hey, man, everything's meant for a reason. You know, I had a good experience with that. Shout out, you know, to Ego Trip and you know, I just seen Elliot Wilson recently, and all those guys are doing awesome stuff, and it was a good experience, man. But no hard feelings on the winning or anything like that.
Yeah, no, definitely, man, and that's good to hear. You know, one thing that was always about you, man, that really stood out as far as being on the show was your wordplay was always nice. You always had some serious wordplay going on. You know, you had the rhyme schemes, and it was like no one else on the show, it seemed like they were even thinking of that. You know, it was just all about like flow and what they were saying. It wasn't really about wordplay.
I mean, I've always just been, you know, a fan of, you know, people just manipulating the language and, you know, being able to find new ways of saying different experiences. So, you know, I appreciate all artists that, you know, go the extra mile to add that dimension to their rhymes, and you know, I try to do that the best I can too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you really had some, I mean, you know, looking back on the show, you know, you were definitely a standout character, and I'm pretty sure that was your intent, right? You were intending on going in there and making waves. You didn't want to go in there and be the quiet one.
I mean, I think it was just about, you know, trying to take advantage of the situation and you know, using that opportunity, you know, knowing that you don't have no control over what gets edited. So just, you know, just representing to the fullest. Yeah,
and speaking about the editing of the show, how do you feel? Do you feel like you were portrayed the way that you wanted to be? Like when you look back at that, where you're like, yeah, I nailed it, like, and they edited it pretty much exactly how I wanted it, or were there some stuff that you're like, yo, I cannot believe they didn't put that in there?
I mean, from what I remember, you know, it's just, you know, it was what it was. I mean, one thing that was interesting was Remy Ma was actually supposed to be in it. They didn't put that scene in, but we sat with her, kicked it, you know, spit a lot of rhymes. And one thing she told us was, you know, there's a dark side to this game. And, you know, that stuck with me, just kind of seeing, you know, what she went through. You know, shout out to her for, you know, going through that and, you know, coming out and still, you know, being polished. And it's, you know, so that was one aspect of, you know, the show that, you know, they didn't put in. But for the most part, you know, it's just the entertainment business, man. It's just, you know, a lot out of your hands.
Yeah, definitely, man. And how do you feel about being on the show? Do you feel like that has, because you obviously have a talent, you know what I mean? You obviously have a talent for, you know, making music and whatnot. But do you feel like being on the show has hurt you as far as advancing, or do you feel like, you know what, it opened doors that I may have not been able to open before?
I mean, it's always been, you know, I'm a creative individual. I've always been a writer. I've been doing, you know, music, something that I've just been kind of doing as part of my creative portfolio. And I think that I met so many awesome people. I learned so much from, you know, running our own business and doing shows and recording projects. You know, finishing up, you know, a new project now. So it's just been a great experience. You know, everything in life, you know, you just, you know, you learn from it and you grow from it. You know, with that said, you know, I'm doing a lot more, you know, work. I just put out this commercial with Soul Republic. Well, music made me do it. You know, I was honored to you know, get to work on that, wrote that, did the actual voiceover. There's an artist by the name of Lucine who did the music. And shout out to Mistress and the whole team who is putting in work on that. So that's a new project that I just launched now. But I'm always just trying to stay active, and that experience with the show was one experience of many.
Yeah, definitely. Now, do you have any kind of relationship with anyone from the show anymore? Do you talk with any of them? Or has it just been pretty much cut off in communication?
I still talk to Ego Trip. Shout out to Sasha, Gabe, the homie, and Brent, Chairman Mao, YN. All those cats are still great mentors. Shout out to Jed Middlebrook. He's a professor, and everyone's just trying to live life.
Definitely. Now, Keg Party, that was a pretty decent hit for you a couple years ago. and the video was crazy, man. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? The video was, it was a great video, man. And it seemed like, after the show, because people are checking, whether or not they hated you or they loved you, people wanted to see if anyone from the show was going to be dropping music, because that's really what it comes down to is the music. And it seemed like you were really the only one that was dropping music, man, because you had multiple videos that were coming out after the show.
I'm just trying to stay active. I've been stacking up songs for years. I've been producing for a while, and my whole mentality is just to say something. Ideally with music is you're trying to make a statement. You're trying to fill a void in the game. But it takes a lot. People don't understand how much work goes into making videos, how much work goes into making projects, and it's an incredible amount of focus. And you need a good team around you, and you need to be, ready to make those sacrifices and ready to, go in the way you need to make quality music. So, my hats off to all the artists out there, all the rappers, all the people that are putting in those hours, working on their pen game or their beat game, and so we can enjoy it and be part of that culture.
Now, what kind of void do you think, as far as music goes, what kind of void do you think that you could fill?
I think everybody has their own story and their own perspective of the world, and I think you have to have your own point of view, and that's what makes you a unique individual. That's what builds your own personality, is your opinion. And I think once you tap into what that point of view is, what your voice is, and then you perfect that, then it just kind of plays out the way it is, and then you see what path you created.
Yeah, definitely. Now, who is in your used to say CD player. Now it's like, if I ask you who's in your CD player, you're going to be like, I don't buy CDs anymore. So who is it that you're rocking out with right now, though? Who is it that you're really feeling musically right now that just kind of got you in the zone?
Listen to a lot of Range, really like the new Little Dragon project. Also listen to a lot of Dobie. Actually, I got the opportunity to do a shoot with Kevin Durant earlier this year in Oklahoma City, and they all came in, and we didn't have a lot of time, and I was working with a photographer, and we just had to put what was on my phone, just to bump music, and I put the Dobie Baby Jesus project on, and that shit just shut it down. Like everybody, like this whole entourage, all the people, all the artists. People just felt that, So, rest in peace to him, because that was a talented brother right there, man. And so I've been bumping a lot of his stuff too.
Okay, and so you meet Kevin Durant, right? Now,
yeah.
Does he know who you are? Does he know you from the White Rapper Show, or are you do you have to introduce yourself? How does that go?
I'm meeting him. I'm working with him in the context, as a creative writer. So I'm working with his management. With Rock Nation and Rich Kleiman and those guys. So we're dealing with, a different brand, so it's a different context.
Nice. Definitely. So what is it? Are you dropping a project? What's the next? What is it you're working on right now that people could hear?
Well, I dropped a video a month ago called Here I Am.
Yeah. I checked that out, man. It's a good video. It's a great song.
Good looks. And another component I did, because I'm trying to always rethink how the music experience can be, and I love making the songs, I love doing the videos, and just thinking of new lanes. And one thing I did with the Here I Am video is I created a physical version. So it's essentially like a flip book that I made. The homie Mikey Carvajal, shout out to him, put it together, and just send it out to a lot of fans and different media cats. So it's like a physical representation of the actual video. So that was one aspect that I was trying to work on with that. And then I got the new project called Burberry. It's that luxury music, that luxury brand music, and just dropped another track off of it, No Strings Attached. Both of those tracks, Here I Am and No Strings Attached, are produced by this cat SOV. He's got this ill lab right by the LAX airport. We just see airplanes just flying by when we're recording. It's sick. So but it's been getting it in, man.
Man, that sounds good, man. That sounds real good. So
yeah,
how can people hit you up? You're on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm everywhere, man. Just can find me at theburbslife.com. John Brown, King of the Burbs. Just not hard. I'm out and about. And I also want to shout out another company. A homie of mine, Jay Canna, has a company I've been working with called Save Art. Save Art sells a hat as well as like a T-shirt, and does different collaborations with artists to raise money for creative projects around the country. So when you buy a hat, you buy a shirt, or you put money into the company, it's then using that money to create different creative projects. So we're doing a bunch of cool stuff with different artists, and that's just starting to build up. So I always want to get that out there. It's at saveart.com. Definitely check that out. Shout out to Jake holding it down on that front. And and then we just launched this Soul Republic Music Made Me Do It commercial. Check that out. It's really try to get it on an artistic level. It is an ad for headphones, but it's about things that music makes people do. From the small things, the epic, life-changing events. It seems like a no-brainer, but it's something that affects everybody, and we're trying to capture that spirit. So that's what I'm on, man.
That's great, man. That is great. Grinding, knocking out music, connections, man. That's what it's all about. Well, thank you very much, John Brown, King of the Burbs, for stopping by Psych Word Radio Show.
No doubt. And I want to also just say, be on the lookout too. Doing a series with Faraz Sahabi.
Okay.
That's George St. Pierre's coach. And we're doing a video that's coming out. A whole series of videos where he's just going to break down like the art of war, in collaboration with Nas Energy Drink. So it's going to be that's going to be dropping pretty soon too, and it did pretty much all the music for that as well. So yeah, just catch me online on my Twitter, and you'll see new content always dropping, man. And I appreciate you reaching out, and it's all good over here.
Absolutely, man. John Brown, King of the Burbs. Appreciate you stopping by Psych Word, man. We'll be in touch.
Yes, sir. All right. Peace, bud.